Bonjour tout le monde, zot ka koute LanatheEducator. Et puis si vous ka koute channel ça pour première fois, bienvenue. Channel ça c'est côté où ça aller pour tout bagay et puis éducation. Merci pour écouter et puis joindre li quand il ka regarder trends en éducation, ka aider puis ces problèmes dans l'éducation et puis partager histoire du triomphe et puis innovation tout partout en le monde là. Pas oublier pour aimer et puis subscribe.
Hello, I am Lana the Educator, and if you're a first-time listener on this channel, welcome. My channel is your go-to destination for all things educational. Thank you for tuning in. Join me as I explore the latest educational trends, tackle pressing issues facing the education sector, and conduct insightful interviews with people making a difference, and share stories of triumph and innovation from around the globe. If you're interested in all things educational, if you're a student striving for success, a dedicated teacher shaping young minds, a paraprofessional making a difference, or an administrator leading the way, this channel is your place for inspiration, insights, and invaluable resources. Today's guest, Nnamdi Hodge, is a passionate educator, cultural advocate, and linguistic preservationist whose work has shaped the landscape of French and Spanish language education in Trinidad and Tobago. With over 25 years of experience teaching Trinidadian French Creole, he's become a leading voice in promoting and preserving this rich linguistic heritage. He currently teaches Spanish and French at the secondary school level and lectures part-time at the University of the West Indies and Cipriani Labour College. His commitment to education extends across institutions such as Caribbean Yard Campus, the Alliance Francaise of Trinidad and Tobago, and the Venezuelan Embassy, where he's led classes in Trinidadian French Creole. His creative contributions include a published songbook titled Venez chanter en patois in 2009. He co-produced 4 French Creole films, 3 of which were featured in the Trinidad and Tobago Film Festival, and a French Creole choir named Seyon Bagay Patois. He's also made audiovisual recordings of Creole speakers across Trinidad, Venezuela, and Grenada, and participated in international conferences in Martinique, Guadeloupe, and Venezuela. As a member of Tout Bagay Patwa, an organization dedicated to preserving Creole language and culture, he co-produces an online show of the same name and helps organize the annual French Creole Mass in Talparo each October. His collaborative work includes contributing to the book Mwen Ka Ale, written by Maurice Le Grande Lashley, he will correct me on that, which documents the French Creole of Grenada. So whether in the classroom, on screen, or through song, this guest brings language to life, bridging generations and geographies with every word. So my listeners, join me in welcoming Nnamdi Hodge.
Bonjour tout le monde.
So it's
Right.
World International Creole Month. Is it World Creole Month or International Creole Month? How are we saying it?
International, well, I guess both,
Mm-hmm.
both, because it's on a global scale, and then it's also done internationally. So a bit of both, I guess.
Right. Tell us more about what this month means, basically.
Well, for me, it means recognition for a language or languages that have been seen as being inferior to their European counterparts. We have always heard about, for example, in Trinidad, or what you call dialect being seen as being broken English or broken language. So this month validates these languages that are seen as being spoken by the powerless, the marginalized, and the insignificant. So they now feel certain amount of validation when they see that their language and culture is being recognized at a world level. I'll give an example. Parliament, for a very long time, people there felt very much ashamed of their language and culture. But since people have been going to Parliament to search for patwa, they have a certain amount of pride now that shows by the events that take place there. So any kind of recognition, regional, national, or world, brings a certain amount of pride to people who, for a very long time, have been made to feel inferior and insignificant and unimportant. So I think this month does that same thing. It makes all Creole-speaking communities and people feel significant, included, and relevant.
Okay. So what kind of activities takes place during this month to celebrate the month?
Right. So as far as Trinidad, we have certain events. We have a patwa mass in Talparo this Sunday, followed by a cultural show where you're going to have performances of patois songs, patois games, I think patois stories too, as well as food on sale that were made by patois speakers in the past. You had things like something called hale.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the other sweets that patois speakers would make in the past are also being put on display and sold as well. So there's the patois mass in Talparo and family. The Alliance Francaise is having a series of French Creole films. I think there's one on the 15th, which is this Wednesday,
Mm-hmm.
and then the following Wednesday, the 22nd, we're going to showcase at least two Trinidad patois films that actually entered the Trinidad Film Festival.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
The Bocas Lit Festival is having an event on, let me get the date correct here, October, I think the 25th at 5 p.m.
Mm-hmm.
At their headquarters on Alcazar Street,
Right.
followed by another screening of a French Creole film at the Alliance Francaise afterwards. This is the Saturday, October 25th.
Okay.
Right? I think Parliament is also having a patois mass on Family Day around that same time. So just different events to celebrate our French Creole heritage and language in Trinidad at least.
So you mentioned before that, some people have misconceptions about Creoles and the language and the dialect and all of that. How can World Creole Month help to shift those narratives about Creole languages?
Right. So first of all, people see Creole languages as being not languages, just being broken variants of a standard language. So we learned in school that, for example, patois is broken French.
Right.
So when you attach the word broken to a language, it gives it a sense of it being a disorganized version of a standard language,
Right.
right? Also you cannot have discussions at a high level in these languages too. I've been to conferences where I presented very elaborate topics in French Creole.
Mm-hmm.
So World Creole Day validates the languages that have made to be seen as not actual languages. Nobody here considers our what we call dialect a language, for example, which is also a Creole language. We see it as just being speaking English in an improper way or badly.
Mm-hmm.
So when you see Creole languages being celebrated and recognized on a world scale,
Right.
you appreciate the fact that they are, first of all, actually languages that have that deserve the same respect as French and Spanish and the other ones have or receive.
Mm-hmm. In your experience, how would you say the younger generation respond to learning and using Creole, if that is taking place at all?
Right. Well, initially they don't see the value. Even French, right? There's a drive more towards Spanish, which is
Yes.
being promoted as our heritage language, but French and French Creole have more relevance to us in Trinidad. Relevance, cultural relevance, linguistic, and of course, as far as our heritage. So I try to promote the language by showing elements of our Trinidad English Creole that are from patois. And when they see that link, they actually become interested in it. I also teach a lot of songs in my classes and games, so that sort of draws the children in particular, to the language. But when they see that we already have words that we use in our English Creole from patois, then something clicks among them and they realize, okay, it's part of our language even to today. It's still being used in some form or fashion. So that, I think the link that is being made with our language kind of makes them realize that it's something that is part of us and probably should be promoted and celebrated and encouraged.
Yeah, I've seen you, I think on some TV channel, and I was telling my friend, this looks like a lot of fun. You were singing a song and playing a game with the
Right.
host.
Well, yes, I wasn't singing though. I can't sing,
Right.
right? But
Well,
yes.
they were singing a song.
Yes.
This
Right. So that
game.
approach,
Yeah.
because some people are very shy about learning a foreign language.
Yes.
So we do it in a way with something that appeals to them. So via a song, right? Or a game or a proverb, that kind of brings them in and sort of any block they may have is kind of removed. Because all of us enjoy our childhood experience at school. So you make them feel like a child again learning language for the first time. So we learn from games and songs in the past. So I have that approach where you sort of break down this block that there is towards learning a foreign language. I do it in my other classes too, Spanish and French too, and it works for adults in particular.
And you were doing it with adults, and it's from seeing them doing that I said, oh, I need to hear more about this, because I know about patois and from Paramin, but it feels so isolated, like if it's something subculture, not main culture in that kind of way. So seeing it done there, and then seeing so many of the connections, as you were saying. Go ahead.
Yeah, and there's a lot. I mean, it's used by us on an everyday basis, so it's not really a subculture. It's part of our everyday language.
Yes, it's assimilated.
Right?
A lot of the language we use.
Knowing.
Yeah, I realize there are like French Creole origins from those things that we naturally say and do in our culture. So it was really interesting
Yes,
to see that as well. Yeah. So what does teaching French Creole mean to you personally?
it means reviving our past, right? Bringing back our Trinidadian. Because now students, as the years go by, are losing our identity too because of the foreign influence. So, for example, in the language, the words that we use in the past are being lost. So it means pointing us back towards ourselves, reclaiming our Trinidadian identity and past. And for me, French Creole is the key to us sort of turning back to looking at ourselves because our first language was French Creole. Our culture and music and language is all French Creole. So that is the base of our being. So teaching language is like teaching people about, I guess, some distant relative that you weren't aware of,
Yeah.
but bringing them back to appreciate that distant relative we have.
Mhm.
To sort of
Go ahead.
shift the focus from Spanish too, because there's a push towards Spanish that is not natural because we don't have much Spanish influence here. Right? So
Well,
I'm saying that it's to shift the focus because we have more in common with the French Caribbean that we have with the Spanish Caribbean, even Venezuela.
yes, but now with the influx of Venezuelans and in our society as well, I've even seen the sign changed on the streets to Spanish, and when you go to the bank, the
Yeah.
ATM, the ATM is in Spanish
So
language.
yes, I mean it's important as well, but as far as our history and heritage,
Ah,
all right, the French is more important than Spanish as far as our historical the influence from the carnival, for example, was brought to us by the French. Our calypso started off being sung in French Creole. So as far as historical relevance, French and French Creole are more relevant. It's probably more relevant for us to learn Spanish now because of the influx. But at the
yes.
same time, as far as knowing our history, right, our heritage is more French and French Creole than Spanish.
Okay. So how did
Yeah.
you first get involved in the International Creole Month activities? I I'm not, I think this is the first time I am actually engaging and participating in International Creole Month.
Right. Well,
I should
just
have
from my work, well, just from people reaching out to me, being aware of my work in Trinidad French Creole, reaching out to me and inviting me to take part in the events. So I was invited to take part in the events because people are aware that I've been promoting patwa for the last 20 years.
Right.
So they have invited me to take part in their events that they put on. We saw them encourage events to take place in Trinidad as well. For example, Michelle Mora is one of my past students who has taken it to she in her school in Talparol. So she also has patwa lessons. She gathers the children. She actually has a choir formed with the children. So she has taken it a different direction as well. Brought it to the children. She teaches the children in the school the patwa games and the songs and the language. Right? So people I've worked with before, taught before, have sort of branched off on their own and you know, sort of spread the word of the language too and the culture and the all things related to the language. So again, I've been invited to take part in these events by people who are actually putting on events
Right.
to honor World Creole Month.
And as you mentioned the choir, can you share your story behind the French Creole choir, Seyon Bagay Patois? I know I might be massacring that,
Yes,
but
say on bagay patwa. Well, it
well,
was formed from so I had started to re-record some of our old patwa songs just for teaching tools, right? And I recruited my past students who could sing or play an instrument. And a choir was formed just first of all, we record the songs. Then we decided to have this concert. We had a concert in Talparo in 2017 called Say on Bagay Patwa, which means it's a Patwa thing. We put
okay.
on a concert where we had, again, songs being sung, right? So the choir was named after the event we put on called Say on Bagay Patwa. We had the concert for about 3 years. We had a virtual one in 2021. So the concert got the name first, and then the choir who took part in the concert was given the name by extension. But
Right.
we seek to re-record old Patwa songs and teach them to people, correct the words in some cases, as a part of teaching the language. True, because some cultural groups who sing the Bele songs and the other Patwa songs are not aware of the words and the meanings of the words. So I
Yeah.
sometimes help them as well to teach them the correct words, teach them new songs as well, and also the meanings of of these songs.
So what are some of the challenges you find in keeping the Creole
I could not
languages
hear you
alive
again.
in Trinidad? Because you've been teaching French Creole for over 25 years. So what are some of the challenges you find
Right.
that you
Again,
encounter?
it's people not seeing the importance of learning Yeah, it's people, some people not seeing the relevance of teaching patois. They see no economic benefit from learning patois, so they sort of question the reason for. I mean, some people have that. Most people are open to it, but some people are questioning why should I guess, spend money to learn a language that is not needed for or has no economic benefit to me. So people see Spanish as the way to, have an economic relevance,
Mm-hmm.
but French Creole being just for, I guess, for the love of it. So some people, very few, always wonder why should I learn French Creole?
Mm-hmm.
A language which has no monetary gain attached to it, which
Mm-hmm.
is a myth because um Paramin again in particular, the tourism has spiked because of the patois as well. The patois language has shone the light on them, and people are going to Paramin now in large groups to do the
Yes,
tours
I see
which
they have a
are
number
done in
of
patois.
tours this month and going
Yeah,
into
and that
November.
is
Yeah.
linked to the patois being validated. That patois is what carried them to that level now because of people recognizing and appreciating the patois. That has given them that much needed boost. So there is a economic gain to gain from it, but people still it's still a fight. Even with French, with Spanish has been the way to go
Mm.
for as far as economic benefits. But again, once you leave the Caribbean and Latin America, French is more relevant, right?
Right.
North America and Europe is French, and
Mm-hmm.
French Creole now makes us make links with the French Caribbean is always looking for links outside of France and the Caribbean. So that common thread we have makes them turn toward us. What Guadeloupe and Martinique are always interested in coming here now to learn about our French Creole culture, which
Okay.
to them is still amazing because they know us to be an English speaking country with a Spanish name and having no French history. So they now turn to us,
Right.
right, for collaboration and just to come here to learn about this previously unknown French Creole culture.
Right. So I guess in terms of those different islands and countries, I guess I could outright ask you how you see the collaboration between those different islands and countries enriching the Creole movement.
Yes, well, first of all, our being included in a different, because we see ourselves as being part of the English speaking Caribbean and
Mm-hmm.
just there, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the French Creole now removes that linguistic barrier and includes us now. For example, Venezuela has a link with us because of the patois as well, right? Venezuela is Spanish, but they have patois speakers there, so that links us to them. The French islands, we have a lot in common with them because of the French Creole. And of course, unity is strength. So we collaborate on, for example, Dominica's asking me what to take part in an event next Thursday to give advice about how to bring the patois language back. Because in Dominica, the children are not speaking it anymore, don't like it anymore. So they asked me to share my experience in reviving it in Trinidad. So we
Right.
collaborate as far as initiatives and programs to preserve and promote it. So we learn from each other as well in these exchanges. And we
That's
exchange
strange to hear
ideas
that
and
they're not interested. So what are they focusing more on in Dominica? The English?
the English, because as it become more modernized, patois is being seen as a language of the countryside and the older folk. So the young people now are turning towards, I guess, social media and English
Mm-hmm.
and are seeing it now as being something old fashioned and for the old people. So they're asking me to take part in this conference now to share what we have done so far to bring it back to the young people in particular.
Right.
So we can learn from each other. Our language also has some words that are no longer used by the other islands because of how early we cut off from French. So they learn a lot of words from us that they either didn't know or forgot about.
Mm-hmm.
So for them, they see us as being patois spoken 100 years ago in their countries, right? So they learn from us as far as how it was, they get a glimpse of how it was 100 years ago, 200 years ago in our case. So it's a lot of exchange and of ideas and content as well that has been taking place.
Mm-hmm. I want to talk about your community and collaboration here, especially the significance of the French Creole Mass in Talparo. How does
Mhm.
it connect with language and spirituality? Tell us a bit more about that.
Right. So first of all, we have this mass where we translate most of the hymns into patois.
Mm-hmm.
And the Spanish in the past would use the religion to promote the language as well.
Okay.
Right? So we're using, so that's people who like to go to church, for example, will come and be exposed to the patois language. Also, the elders in the communities who were part of the church before are now being validated by this mass in order of their language.
Right.
But it's a teaching tool both for the language and the culture. It's a way to spread the language and culture to people among us who are churchgoers.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So it's another way to target a segment where you have the church-going population coming to this mass And at the same time, either hearing a language that they knew before or never learned before, being exposed to the language in song. Sometimes the priest actually preaches in patois, and then we have the song books, patois in English. So we teach the language there as well indirectly, but also expose the culture to that church-going element of the society.
Is it the songbook you're mentioning, the Vini, Chante, and Patois?
No. What we do,
Oh.
we every service has a book of hymns
Oh, the
that you would
songbook,
use for
yes.
the.
Okay.
So we translate certain hymns
The
to be
songbook,
sung in
yes.
patois,
Hymnal.
and then Michelle Mora has a children's choir now who sing those songs, and the congregation can follow along in the songbook with the patois words and English words. So they actually learn the language as well by singing along with the choir and reading the words in the songbook as well.
Oh, okay.
And we have the church decorated in the French Creole. If you see my background here, the Madras
Yes,
colors.
I was going to
It's
mention
decorated like
that.
that. Yes.
That's
So
like the Dominican plaid. I saw that a lot in Dominica.
right. Well, it's Creole. It's the Creole
Yes.
colors. That's the Madras. So Trinidad had it at the time. They used to call it
Right.
the Martinican way, where you had the head tie and the dress in
Yeah.
that same
Yeah.
colors. It's the French Creole colors, Madras.
Everywhere I went in Dominica, I saw this, this pattern.
Yeah, and
Especially in
Saint
the
Lucia too.
hotels. Yes.
Yeah. So that's the French Creole colors.
All
Those colors.
right.
So we decorate the church as such. We have then the show afterwards. It's celebrating the patois songs and games and other things. So it's a whole event where we target the cultural element of the language now. So the language for the mass, but then afterwards it's the songs and the games and the
Right.
other things that were patois, done in patois.
That's something to do, listeners. It sounds like fun. I mentioned your book, of course, I don't know with the pronunciation, the Venetian.
Vini Chante en patois. You said it
Right. So
almost correct.
that's a unique contribution to, I think, culture. What inspired the creation of this, and how did people receive it?
Right. So I had a class where I had a student in the class who knew some patois songs and wanted to do a songbook, Florence Blizzard. So she was part, I think, of the Mausica's teachers choir, where they knew some of the songs but weren't aware of the words. So she wanted to go around the country and get the words and collect new songs. And so she approached me and we made this plan to go around the country, collect patois songs, of course, put them into a book, sort of firm up the language, the words of it, and make sure the words are correct. And then we recorded them as well onto a CD. And we formed a choir called Vini Chante en Patois with her family. Right. So she was the one who approached me and said she wanted to do it because she knew some patois songs that she wasn't too sure about. She wanted to do a songbook, and we did it together in 2009. Right. So it was a past student that inspired me to do that. She told me she wanted to do a songbook to kind of clear up some of the songs she knew and to learn some more as well. Because her family is very musical. They all sing and play instruments.
Oh, nice. And you've also co-produced for French Creole films. What stories, what are those, and what stories were you most passionate about telling through those projects?
Right, so a lot of them revolved around a couple in Paramin, Bertrand and Claudia Joseph. Cassandra Joseph, who was my patois class at UE, approached me after the class and said she has this patois speaking grandparents who were celebrating 70 years of marriage, right? And she wanted to make a small film about their history. So we did that in 2016, where we did a short documentary on their how they met and their life. It was called Septembre l'année ensemble, and it went in the film festival. It was well received around the Caribbean as well.
Okay.
We did one afterwards about the tradition of smoking meat, which was done by her grandfather called Boucanet, where we went to Morocco. He went to Maracas, filmed him buying the fish there, coming home and smoking the fish in his sort of smoking hut in his house. Then we also did one on his making coffee called Vouet Cafe. He makes coffee from scratch. He plants the coffee in his garden, grinds it, and makes it from scratch. We also had one called Mayok, where her grandfather as well made cassava flour from scratch. It was about her documenting her family's heritage and practices, but also using the patois in the film. So they really get around her grandfather's activities and her grandparents' activities, and of course done in patois to promote the language as well. Her name is Cassandra Joseph from Paramin.
And outside of like film festival and so, is there any way we can see these films? I know that the recent Trinidad and Tobago Film Festival concluded, and Alliance Francaise was showing some, like you mentioned, and Carnival showed recently at Alliance Francaise. But if you want to see these outside of these places,
Yeah, well, they're
yeah.
not really available for public consumption, like nowhere on social media, not as yet at
Mm,
least. So, two of them are being shown next Wednesday at the Alliance Francaise. Two of the films we did. I'm not sure which one is it, but they're not really anywhere else
right.
available for public viewing,
Mhm.
at least not yet. I
Right.
actually have one on YouTube I did with Joanne Ferreira called Linguistic Landscapes, where we
Okay.
went around the country and filmed patois speakers all around the country.
Right.
It's called, that's on YouTube, Linguistic Landscapes, where you have
Mhm.
different people speaking about their history and part one different stories.
Is this with Joan Ferreira?
Yes, very good friend of mine. We've been to Venezuela many times
What?
and came back on a pirogue and all kind of experiences just to promote and document. So we worked together for 20 years now and still work together.
Right.
Yeah, so she and
That's
I are doing anything at the Booker's List Festival as well.
mhm.
So we are collaborators for about 20 years now.
Right. Is this what you're talking about? The audiovisual recordings of the Creole speakers across the Caribbean. How did that come together?
Yes.
Uh,
So it started when I was working on the songbook. We went to a family in Kumaka to get some songs, but I just recorded it. I interviewed them one time on the spot.
right.
And then when I went to Venezuela in 2011, a man from Parliament said he wanted me to come and interview his uncle, who actually was 114 when he died. And when Joan Ferrer and I in Venezuela decided to just document in Venezuela and anywhere else we found patois speakers. Then we got a grant from you, we call the RDI fund, where we actually got a grant to get proper equipment to document, well, in our case, patois as well. So we went around the country every chance we got. Every weekend we'd go to community and interview patois speakers. We went to Venezuela again afterwards and did the same because the government, they wanted to promote even to today, they want to promote patois as one of their heritage languages. So we went across to make recordings of speakers there in Guiria in particular, where Trinis went and settled there and of course carried patois. I also went to Grenada to help my friend with the book, where I recorded some patois speakers in Grenada as well.
Mhm.
That was like sort of linked to the book as well. So I've been doing it since then, just because it's one thing to hear about the language, but it's another thing to actually see it and hear it being spoken in a video, which brings it more to life.
Mm.
So whoever chance I get, I just film patois speakers whenever I get the chance to do it, just to have an archive of it as well, because next 20 years it'll be gone. So at least we have an archive to see and hear it being spoken in Trinidad and anywhere else I film it, you know.
When did International Creole Month start? When did we start celebrating this really?
That I'm not sure of, that I'm not
Yeah.
sure of that
I
date. Yes,
myself,
I
I'm going to
think.
check it because I don't know. For me,
Yes.
this is the first time I'm hearing about it in this way in Trinidad.
But yeah, I would say in Trinidad, it's probably I could say probably the last 10 years, if so much.
Okay.
I think, yes, because we started it more or less at the Alliance and other places. So at
Right.
10 years in Trinidad at least. As far as the world, I don't know, but for Trinidad, I'm sure it's at least 10 years. I think not more than 10 years where we started to do these different activities with. I think the Alliance was the one who actually started it or suggested we have some activities here, at least on a formal level, at least, if I'm not mistaken.
Right. Because and I think the only time I considered Creole in any way was when we did Creole linguistics with Sandra Evans at
Right,
university.
yes, and
And then we
yes.
went to Guyana with Ian Robertson, I think was
Robertson,
the
yes.
So tell us about Tutbagay Patwa, that organization, and what you aim to achieve.
Right. Now, we always approached by people who want to actually sometimes write a song with patois in it,
Mm-hmm.
or even launch a product with a patois name, or just to clear up something about patois. So we decided to form an organization, a body, an authority that people could come to
Mm-hmm.
officially for help,
Right.
right? Be it classes, be it information, more or less information about patois, right?
Right.
So we could go to schools and give talks about it. We help people either if you need to write a patois song from scratch,
Mm-hmm.
or to decide on a patois name for a product, or to clear up some lyrics of some particular song. It's just an authority on patois in Trinidad for anybody who needs to help with patois at any level. We also promote, actually have an online show. We made about 3 episodes so far, where we looked at, we looked at stick fighting and patois.
Right.
We looked at Camboulé and patois. And we looked at also at the French music called Crèche, which is on Christmas time,
Mm-hmm.
as part of the French Creole heritage. So we did 3 shows so far. It's about promoting the language and culture, also offering help to those who need help with patwa, either through a class or some kind of advice or some kind of guidance. So it's an authority. You have in France the Académie Française.
Mm-hmm.
We have that in Trinidad, which is an authority you can go to get help with patwa. And we also promote the language and culture for different events and activities.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, I was now because I interviewed this author, Stuart Fortuny, who did From Ibadan to Heliad, and
Mhm.
he used because I know he used a bit of patois because I'm seeing it here in the glossary. I remember reading it in the book because it focused on the pan movement and the canbole and those kind of characters.
Sometimes people may have a recording that they can't
Right.
really understand what they're hearing and can't pick up. People sometimes come to me with folk songs that they hear too and can't understand what's being said, and I help them as well. We help them as well with to clear up the lyrics too.
Yeah, I saw Best Village just went by, and it's always nice to hear those French Creole songs being performed, like during the ballet and all those different things that they're singing. So, I mean, we sing it. I sing
Yes.
it too along with them, but I have no idea what it means in the same way you
Yes,
were
yes,
talking
yeah,
about
yeah,
before. So we all just keep doing it. So you also talk
yeah,
about, you work with UE and then the Venezuelan embassy. Even when I saw that when you send the information to me, I was like, but Venezuela is Spanish, and you're dealing with
yes,
patois and French Creole. So
yes.
how did those
But,
collaborations come about?
well, we had migration from. Let me just come back and mention the members of Tubagai Pato before I leave them
Right.
out.
Oh,
Right. So
yes.
it's myself, Dr. Joanne Ferreira, Kevin Swift, and Michelle Moore Fodringham. We four
Mm-hmm.
of us make up that.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Right. So I got a call from Venezuela in 2005 to attend a conference that was entitled Patwa Speaking Grandparents of Venezuela and the Caribbean. And I was like,
Mm.
Patwa in Venezuela. But migrate the same way Patwa came here from migration from the French islands. Trinidadians went across to Venezuela in the 1800s and
Right.
migrated there at the time of Patwa speaking. So they went and settled in Venezuela and carried, and those areas they went to were sort of locked off from Venezuela, other parts of Venezuela. So Patwa thrived there up to recently. Actually, Patwa was spoken in Guerrero before Spanish really reached there. For a long time, they had Patois and English there before Spanish reached because it was a sort of cutoff from mainland Venezuela and they had more interaction with Trinidad. So our migrants and from Grenada as well, when they went to Venezuela, they were Patois speaking at the time, and where they went and set up shop and communities, Patois was carried there. So from migration,
Mm-hmm. Okay.
right? The same way how we had Cocoa Piles coming here from Venezuela and bringing Spanish here, we carried Patois across there when we migrated there and settled in Venezuela. So the
Mm.
whole Paria Peninsula, which is from Guerrero, Don Pedro, and Macuro, also
Mm-hmm.
El Callao as well has a big Trinidad community that has Calypso and Carnival
Mm-hmm.
and Patois as well.
Mm. Are there any songs or stories that have been particularly meaningful to you in the past celebrations that it's a personal favorite of yours?
You mean a Patois story or an
Story or song,
incident?
any of those? Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What I find interesting is the songs that we have on both sides of the in Venezuela and Trinidad,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because beyond Patois now, a lot of in El Callao, people carried across calendar songs, which is stick fighting songs, to El Callao,
Yes.
and they became calypsos across there. So people in El Callao put them to music and made a lot of our old calendar songs into calypsos across there. So for me,
Right.
that was interesting to see our presence there.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of our folk songs we have here too, and the game songs. There's a particular game we play where you sit in a circle and pass a stone around and sing a song about going to Samoa.
Yeah.
It is sung in Venezuela as well. That I found
Okay.
that there as well. So it was good to see that we carried stuff across there and it's still being used up to today. We met children there
Mm-hmm.
singing and playing those games in El Callao 10 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So that for me was remarkable, seeing our presence there still evident to this day, and very strong as well.
Okay. So what's next for you in terms of Creole advocacy and World Creole Month moving forward?
Right. So we'll be looking to continue with the production of the online show.
Mm-hmm.
Also,
Just remind
what
me
am
of the
I?
name of the online show again.
Tooth Bagay Patwa.
Oh, is it where is it on its own channel or on YouTube?
No, no, on my channel. You
Okay.
just type in
With
that
your
and you have
name?
different episodes. Yes, on my name, yes.
Okay, okay. All right.
Right, and to continue to teach the language and spread the language and culture by showing again the influence in particular, which makes it part of us. So just to continue what I've been doing the last couple of years and probably getting more help, more hands on deck, always needed.
So how can
But just
people join and get involved with you? With
well, you could write me, email me, nnamdihodge@hotmail.com.
right.
right? We need people who can sing and play an instrument and just, be part of it.
Yes.
And I also have classes as well. I do online classes, so you can join the classes as well to learn the language, and afterwards we, continue to
Move
work
forward.
together. And yes,
Nice. Well, thank you so much, Nnamdi Hodge, for joining us
problem.
here on Lana the Educator. I want my listeners to know that you empower minds and you ignite curiosity. Happy World Creole Month.
Bon mois Creole or bon fête mois Creole.
That's so much fun. I think I have to have you back on to do some little
So
fun interactions or
whenever
something.
you're ready,
We
whenever
can
you're ready. Yes.
brainstorm. But thank you so much, and I wish you all the best with your initiative. And you probably will be seeing me in a couple of events this month because
Okay,
I've
very
now
good.
been looking through your calendar of events, at Alliance Francaise and Paper Based Bookshop and that kind of thing. So
Yes.
thank you so much for joining us. Take
Okay,
care.
most welcome. All right.